after Iran attacking Pakistan. Former Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has put out a tweet that reads, and I quote, "I am shocked at the Iranian breach of Pakistani sovereignty. This missile attack is against our spirit of friendship and principles of good neighborliness, especially as it undermines the historic relationship between our two countries. Sincere dialogue and meaningful cooperation between our two countries is the need of the hour. My condolences to the families who lost their loved ones in the attack." Cutting across to Senior Executive Editor Abhishek Kapoor, who is with us on the phone line. Abhishek, how do you read into this tweet?
Well, this is typical Pakistani publicity, Pakistani double standards. He's talking about good, friendly and neighborhood conduct, but what Pakistan does to its neighbors, be it India, be it Afghanistan, be it Iran, the Jaish-e-Adl, this militant group which has been targeted by Iranian missiles, carries out raids, carries out attacks on not just civilian targets, but even Iranian military targets like the IRGC. Back. So this is more like a surgical strike. Pakistan has faced a surgical strike from India. Pakistan has faced a surgical strike from Afghanistan. Pakistan has faced a surgical strike now from Iran. Not the first. So obviously, this is more a reflection of Pakistan, boiling in its own broth, effectively having nurtured and carefully cultivated a terror ecosystem across all borders. So in the case of India, of course, Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, among others, Hizbul Mujahideen, and then, of course, in the case of Afghanistan, the Taliban, the entire Taliban ecosystem nurtured by Pakistan, the brunt of which they are facing now in the form of Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan and the Haqqani network. And then, of course, in the case of Iran, also there are a couple of militias working, anti-Shia militias working, again, carefully nurtured by Pakistan. So Iran hitting back. So I think Pakistan shouldn't be complaining. It should be looking within. But then that's the last thing that the Pakistani state and deep state particularly is capable of. So they are going to see more of these surgical strikes being targeted. There are hotbeds working from their soil unless and it's a very difficult task. Pakistan really looks within and does something about its own terror as a state policy.
Oh, yes, absolutely, Abhishek. And given the internal crisis in Pakistan, not just in terms of the political stir, but also the economic issues that they are dealing with, how are they possibly to deal with neighbors who they call friends, but are now having to bear the brunt of their own actions?
Well, the point is, Suresha, that Pakistan does not believe in good neighborliness. For them, terrorism is a state policy. So there is no evidence or an evidence whatsoever that irrespective of whichever dispensation comes to power or whichever puppet regime comes to power in Islamabad, that they are going to have a relook at their Kashmir policy. So in the case of Afghanistan, because they see Afghanistan as a deep strategic or a space, geopolitical space that provides them strategic depth. So they are not going to change their Afghanistan policy. And so in the case of Iran, the Shia-Sunni axis is strong. In fact, with the kind of radicalism and radicalization that has happened in Pakistan, this axis is going to, in fact, harden. And perhaps the Iranians realize that. So they want to sort of warn and nip it in the bud. That's why these missile attacks being carried out. I mean, imagine the two Islamic nations at loggerheads with each other, like in the case of Iran, so in the case of Afghanistan. And the Taliban, for example, in the case of Afghanistan, have made it clear that they are not going to brook any meddling by Pakistan in their affairs, including fomenting of terror. What more can be said? Pakistan, when it comes to India, plays a victim card, holier than thou, Kashmir, this, that, unresolved business, etc. But what is in the case of Afghanistan and what is in the case of Iran? I mean, absolutely settled border so far as Iran is concerned, except for whatever smuggling Pakistani Rangers allow, because the Pakistani economy is in shambles. And from cigarettes to petroleum products, everything is allowed to be smuggled into Pakistan from Iran. So I think this is essentially chickens coming home to roost. It's unlikely that Pakistan is going to change its policy. As of now, anyway, they are in the midst of a messy election. So lesser said, the better.
All right, Abhishek, thank you for putting that into perspective for us.